Thank you. Okay, so if you know Midtronics, then you probably also know that we partner with OEMs, global OEMs, and aftermarket service around the world. Our tools and technologies test 30 million batteries per year, and our legacy is 40 years. And so we have really a rich history of understanding batteries and being a consulting partner to our customers to solve their battery issues, which can be vast and varied. And so what we're going to talk about today is really a new application of a 12-volt battery in EVs. And because the application is new and unique, so therefore does also the diagnostic process need to be as well. And we've developed new technology specifically for 12-volt batteries in EVs, right? And so it's certainly no secret that we've entered the early stages of mass adoption of EVs. And so because of this, it's critical to prepare operations to service, for the diagnostic tools to service these 12-volt batteries, right? So I'm sure that everyone is familiar already with the maintenance requirements of ICE vehicles, but with this transition to EVs comes also a transition of maintenance requirements as well, right? But guess what? The 12-volt battery stays, and it's also more important than ever in the EV, though its role is now redefined, right? And so the low voltage capacity that it provides to EVs in order to support all of the critical safety systems in EVs, as well as all of the vehicle accessories that all contribute to driver satisfaction. It's all powered by 12-volt battery, and we call the capacity of this 12-volt battery, we call that safety power capacity. So as you hear me refer to this term safety power capacity, it's really that capacity of the 12-volt battery to do its job in the EV, okay? And let's now look at what that job is, right? So at the most basic level, the 12-volt battery makes the car go. Now, is it providing the propulsion or traction to move the vehicle? No, right? That's the job of the high voltage battery, the big battery. But it does power the BMS, or the computer inside the high voltage battery. And without powering the BMS of the high voltage battery, the car will not go. You will not have access to the energy stored in the high voltage battery, which then moves the vehicle. So fundamentally, if you don't have 12-volt power to power that, you're not going anywhere, right? And so it powers also critical vehicle safety systems, which we'll look at in detail in just a moment. So it's critical to the vehicle and driver safety. Also, it powers all the accessories, so infotainment, as well as doors, locks, trunk, windows, basic access to the vehicle as well, right? It's the number one, which has been confirmed by all of our roadside service partners. It's actually the number one reason for roadside events with EVs is the 12-volt battery. You might think that it could be losing or exhausting the range, right? Low charge or no charge of the high voltage battery, and then the car gets stuck. It's actually not the case. The number one reason is the 12-volt battery, which is why EVs get stuck on the side of the road. So let's take a look at what the 12-volt is powering, right? And so on the left, you see critical safety systems and features of the vehicle: seatbelt sensors, power steering, ABS brake system, ADAS, and many more, right? Critical safety systems, as well as all the general vehicle accessories as well that everybody enjoys in the vehicle, and creature comfort type things, and OTA software updates, which we know are now happening very frequently to EVs as the OEMs seek to update the software on the vehicle and enhance features, or even correct some technical bugs that might be in the vehicle after the driver has already driven off the lot, right? And so OTAs are highly consumptive of 12-volt power as well. Right? Steer-by-wire is another example. So without 12-volt power, steer-by-wire is not powered, and so that's a kind of fundamental need to control the vehicle. So it's basic function of the vehicle, basic safety of the vehicle, right? Windshield defroster, high voltage battery coolant pump, especially that guy, right? If you can't properly manage the thermal condition of the high voltage battery, we see the headlines. We know what happens in that scenario, right? So it's critical that you have sufficient 12-volt power for all of those needs and more. Even up to 300 individual low voltage loads are all powered by 12 volt. And so looking back, conductance is of course appropriate to test in ICE vehicles, ability to crank the engine, right? Well, that doesn't work here because there's no engine, right? So it's kind of a mismatch. And so conductance profiling also relevant to test because not only cranking ability, but also reserve capacity in ICE vehicles in order to ensure, for example, in stop-start cases, that you can run the low voltage loads of the ICE vehicle when you're stopped at a traffic light and the engine turns off, for example. Now we are introducing the newest 12-volt diagnostic technology, which is safety power diagnostics, specifically designed to assess the health of the 12-volt battery in an EV. And there's conductance is not part of it because it's basically just not applicable. And what we do with safety power diagnostics is we actually measure and assess the ability of the 12-volt battery to power the low voltage loads in an EV, which is more of an auxiliary capacity role that it's serving there, right? And you see that, and these are a few examples we can look at. I invite everyone to go onto Google and type in EV 12-volt problems, and you'll see thousands of pain points from drivers that this is really an issue, and it's quite obvious. You can see that in the picture. It almost looks like the guy's having a heart attack. I didn't know if he is, but that's what came to my mind. So clearly it's painful. But in this case, this is really the best case scenario, right? His car essentially has a no start scenario because the 12-volt battery is dead. Well, that's like the best case scenario, because the worst case scenario is that it fails while driving. And we'll get to this in a second. There's some OEMs under investigation about loss of 12-volt power while driving. And this can pose a safety hazard, especially in the case where you have steer-by-wire and you have no 12-volt to power ABS or steering and many other systems as well, right? So OEMs know this is a problem. And this is one example on a vehicle where the jump posts for the 12 volts are easily accessible and in the charge port door, because they know this is a problem. They don't have let's say a fully baked solution yet, and so at least they provide an easy access way to be on your way and bypass the problem in this example, right? And so NHTSA has under investigation a couple OEMs because there was a failure in the DC-DC charging circuit, which is basically what charges the 12-volt battery from the high voltage battery. And if that fails, then you have no 12-volt charging happening. And then if your 12-volt battery is of a poor health, then you really have very limited to no ability to manage the safety of the vehicle in that scenario. So it's critical to ensure that the 12-volt battery can play its role as it was intended, right? So we're introducing the XLVS 9000, which features this technology. And essentially what we're doing is we're exercising the battery, and we determine by measuring the available capacity in the battery, if it can support the vehicle needs. And when I say measuring, what we're doing is we're looking at where the battery started So let's take, for example, a 20 amp hour battery, okay? And let's say it has, we measure that available capacity, and let's say what we measure, it has lost 25% of its capacity. We will show that it has 75% available capacity, and at that time of test. And then based upon the vehicle needs, that it can support its role. If we come back with a measurement that's quite low, 20%, then it probably needs to be changed in that case, for some examples, right? Of course, as all our tools, it's a connected tool, so we capture data reports and deliver them to the end user. It's very easy to integrate into a service process with barcode scanner for VIN capture, vehicle information, and it's a mobile tool around the shop floor. We have a cart for it that's easy to move around. So I invite everyone to come by our booth, A4846, to see a demo. Happy to show you how it works, and we can discuss more if you'd like. If there's any questions, I hope I didn't go too fast. I'm happy to answer. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Midtronics. We will get you there.